What is up, guys? Tonight I want to talk to you guys about how narcissistic abuse shapes our relationship with our emotions. So as children, if we're raised with parents or caretakers that show up with narcissistic patterns of behavior, what ends up happening is the narcissistic parent or caretaker is showing up from a space where they are not able to be emotionally supportive and embrace and honor and receive the emotional experiences coming from their child, because a narcissistic pattern of behavior functions to avoid emotional intimacy with themselves. So if a person is avoiding emotional intimacy with themselves and their whole life they have gone suppressing, rejecting, and running away from their own emotional experience, they won't be able to show up for the child emotionally unless and until they do the healing work to embrace and honor their own emotional experiences. Now, I'm speaking on a subconscious level there when I have just described everything to you. But there's also the aspect of ourselves that is conscious, and narcissistic parents and caretakers also show up consciously to manipulate their children and maintain a dominant role and win at all costs with their children. So there's more aspects to narcissistic abuse than just the subconscious level in the ways that we interact with each other subconsciously. And this is why accountability is so important, because we have the conscious aspects of ourselves that know what we're doing, and we show up as human beings to do it in order to dominate each other. And this isn't being talked about enough, and this is where the gaslighting and manipulation comes in, where narcissistic parents or caretakers gaslight their children. And that's when the parent or caretaker will deny the perception and the experience of the expressed perception and experience of their children, which is extremely damaging, because what it does is it disconnects the child from their own internal knowing, their intuition, and their emotional guidance system. And so it leads to them showing up in the world from a place of fully distrusting themselves, where they're not able to have trust in anything that's going on internally within them, anything that's going on outside of them. And then when we are conditioned to run from, reject, and suppress our emotions and see ourselves as weak for having a healthy relationship with our emotions, what happens is the emotional energy, because it's an actual energy in motion, right? The energy gets suppressed and trapped in the body. And when the emotions get trapped in the body, that's when we develop physical dis-ease. So there's a lot of things going on when it comes to narcissistic abuse that is causing so many layers of dis-ease and dysfunction. And it not only manifests in our bodies, it also manifests in our relationships with other people, in our relationship with ourselves. And then we also are impacted on a neurological level. So our brain and our nervous system is drastically impacted by us as human beings not showing up to embrace the emotional experience. So when we make an enemy of our emotions, we're literally causing violence, physical violence to the brain, our mental state and the body, and we cause chaos and disarray within ourselves. And so what ends up happening is all of that chaos and disorder ends up spinning out onto everyone else around us, and it causes chaos and disorder in our environment as well. And this has manifested on a large scale if you start looking closely at everything, because this is all connected. When we're looking at things on a microcosmic level, it's happening on a macrocosmic level. So it's really important that we start seeing our emotions for what they are, that they are so important and vital to our well-being, and that they are an internal guidance system that helps us in relation to setting boundaries and being able to show up and love ourselves, and being able to heal from physical, mental, and emotional dis-ease. So I'm going to leave that there with you tonight, and let that ruminate in your brain, and start practicing being okay with being an emotional being and not making an enemy of your emotions. And I will continue on in the next video.